I first saw Rick Barnes when I was a younger man watching Monday night Big East games back in the day during his Providence time. And it's been an honor to get to work with him. He's moving up here, so he wants me away from the microphone quickly. But I'm going to go through a couple of things. More than 800 wins in 37 seasons as a Division I head coach. He just turned 70, remarkably spry for a 70-year-old. I've not been to practice this year, but when he was about 68, he was the most energetic person at practice when he let me in the door to watch. He's entering his 10th season at Tennessee. That includes 3 consecutive Sweet 16s and last year's Elite 8. Pretty cool family story, 2 children, one who serves abroad in a faith-based way, a daughter. That's his son. His daughter has adopted 2 children from Uganda, so he and his wife, Candy, with those 2 kids, have 6 grandchildren. That'll keep you young. And it's a privilege to introduce the head coach from the University of Tennessee, Rick Barnes.
Thanks. Real quick, I got to point out Coach Sanderson in the background there. Coach, step up here a minute. Does everybody see you? He has been a year I spent with him was a great year for me and learned a lot from him. Still do some things that we did when we were together, but I didn't think at that time I'd be back in the SEC for 10 years, but it's been a really neat way to watch this league grow and where we've now become, I think, not only we talk about this being the best athletic conference in the country, I think that we can really say that we've got the best basketball league in the country. Really proud of the coaches in our league, how hard they worked, and how I go back to my first year when Commissioner Sankey took over and he talked about basketball and how much we needed to grow it, and he said he would do his part. He's done that, and just watching it grow over the last 10 years has been fun to be a part of it. I'll open up to you guys.
We'll take your questions. If you'll raise your hand, remember to identify yourself and the outlet that you represent. So let's start on the far left, second row.
Jack Pilgrim, KSR, you're lifelong friends with Coach Cal. Your thoughts on his transition to Arkansas? How much did that kind of blindside you? And then just what your expectations are for Mark Pope at Kentucky?
Well, he and I had really talked about it before he actually made that move. And, we go back a long time, and we started a relationship back in 1975, 76 at the University of Pittsburgh camp that we both worked. He was going in his senior year. I just graduated from college, and we've had a dear friendship since that time, and he'll do great. I mean, just like wherever he's gone, he's built a winner. He's one of the great coaches of all time, and he will make it even tougher than it's ever been to play at Arkansas, and I'm happy for him because I think he's happy, and what he did at Kentucky was really unbelievable if you look back on it and his time there. But what he did at Memphis, UMass, everywhere he's been, he's a winner, and he'll continue to do that.
Next question on the back on the right.
Myron Metcalf, ESPN.com. Rick, obviously a lot of your colleagues kind of left the game when there were a lot of these changes happening. How have you been able to navigate just this changing landscape in college basketball and continue to succeed?
Well, I've always talked to players about, you have to adjust. And throughout life, you have to adjust. There's a lot of things that have, as you can imagine, has changed in my time in the game. But this is probably the most radical changes that we've ever dealt with. And the fact is, whether you agree or disagree, if you want to stay in the game, you got to be willing to embrace what's happening at that point in time. And that's where we are. And hopefully that as we keep sorting through all this going on right now, it gets to a place where it's where everybody likes it, players included, everyone. But it's really just a matter of adjustment. You have to adjust. And just with our team, we talk about our team constantly every day about where we've got to make adjustments through what we're doing, and I don't think it's any different with our profession.
All right, next question. Let's come down the front row.
Hey, Rick. Bob Holt, Arkansas Democrat. You talk about your long-term friendship with Cal. He's got one of your former players, Jonas. How does that work when you're friends, but maybe a player's switching teams within the league? And just what do you think of Jonas? What kind of player he is, and what he can do for Arkansas?
Well, we certainly enjoyed having Jonas, but again, that's part of the game today when players decide they want to go in the portal and maybe see their value, what it's worth, and That's what Jonas wanted to do, and would not affect my relationship with Cal or anybody else. It's up to a player to make that decision. And just so happens he chose to stay in the league, and we'll play against him once for sure, maybe more through the tournament. But again, we appreciated what Jonas did for our program, and I'm sure he'll do what Cal asked him to do there, because he's a guy that he's that kind of person, player. But regardless, in today's world where we are, when players leave and go wherever, we just move on and do what we need to do, and that's what we do.
Okay, let's go to the front row on the left.
Coach, John Zeigler with Associated Press. I'm wondering, we all know there's going to be change in the offseason, players leaving, players going. How difficult is it to manage if players are leaving in midseason, as sometimes happens and may happen more?
Well, again, all I can tell you is we're a team, and I've always gone into every year thinking about a team, and really I believe in thinking about what could be the worst scenario that could happen. If this happened, that happened, what would we do? So we built in some things in our program that we always have, is where we would like to think that we can survive anybody leaving at any point in time. Could it get more difficult? It could, but you can also look at it like it gives someone else a chance who maybe hadn't had the opportunity. What I know you can't do is complain about it, bemoan about it. You just got to, this is what it is, this is where we are today, and we got to make the best of that situation. But again, we always think about the what ifs with our guys in terms of injuries or whatever it may be, and that's why we really try to create as much versatility in our program with our players, that if they have to do more than one thing, try not to put them in a box to where they're limited only a few things, because you never know what you need them to do later on.
Next question, third row in the middle, and then we'll go to the third row on the right.
Hey, Coach. Good morning. Brad Harvey from College Sportscast. I wanted to kind of ask you about Zakai Zeigler. He's going into his senior year. How important is he going to be on this team, and what kind of growth do you think you'll see with Zeigler this year?
Well, I could stand here all day and talk about Zakai and what he's meant to our program, and he's one of the most unselfish human beings I've ever been around in my life. Totally as good a teammate. As a coach, there's not a coach in the country that would not want to coach him and be around him every day, because he's one of the most consistent people I've ever been around. I never worry about him coming to practice, what kind of effort, what kind of attitude he's going to bring. I don't care if it's in June, July, August, wherever it is, he's going to bring his max effort. A guy that never complains, hates missing practice. If it's left up to him, he would play 40 minutes a night. He would take every rep in practice. He's made as much an impact on our program as any program I've ever been in terms of what he's done. And that's talking about a guy that when we recruited him, we thought we were going to redshirt him. And then after 1 week in practice, we knew we couldn't do that. And what he's continued to do and the way he continues to grow, anything he does, I promise you, will be to help his teammate and our team and our program grow to be the best it can be, because he is such a great individual person, but like I said, one of the great teammates ever, and a guy that truly wants to win at the highest level.
Next question, third row on the right, and then we'll go second row on the left.
James Fletcher from On3. Inevitably, fans and media are going to try to find the next Dalton Knecht, and so not just on your team, but across the country, they're going to be looking for that. So how do you manage that with whether it's Dubar or Lanier or any of those guys, making sure that they're playing their game and not listening to the hype of what they could be or should be?
Well, I'm like all those people you're talking about. I'm looking for them too, you know. But it really is a good question, because we don't, again, a year ago when I was standing here, what he did, I could have never imagined it. And at this point in time, a year ago, he would have said to you, I'm not sure I'm going to start. And just so happened that, you know, we get ready to go play our first really exhibition game against Michigan State. Z's not ready to come back yet. Santi had a death in his family, and I remember we're going to start Dalton because of just the numbers were. And I remember telling him before the game, and I remember talking to Tom Izzo prior to the game. We were talking about our team. I said, I'm going to start this guy, but I promise you, if he doesn't try to play defense today, I'm going to make a point that I'm going to set him down to let him know that you're not going to play if you don't try to play defense. Well, without question, he went out and far exceeded what I thought he could do defensively, then what he did on the offensive end. And then it goes back to Jemiah Meshack saying to me that day, Coach, the way he played offense is what we've seen during the summer. But I was more impressed with the fact that he had made that effort. And then the best part about him was he endeared himself to his teammates, and his teammates embraced him. And your point, too, that other guys thinking that's just going to happen, it won't just happen. And so what we do talk about is them being a star in their role, whatever that may be. And I've told them before, he made us change. We did some things later on that we weren't even practicing this time of year, but once we saw what he could do, and especially when the lights came on, we were able to add some different things and play off of him more. And like everyone else, I hope that's going to happen with this team too, with someone.
Okay, second row on the left, and then we'll come to the front row in the middle.
Richmond Weaver, Fox Sports Upstate in Greenville, South Carolina. Coach, what keeps you energized?
Young people getting to go in the gym every day. I love practice. I love the game of basketball. I really, truly could stay in the gym all day with the guys. I love guys that have a dream and they want to go after it, and really be brutally honest with them, to talk to them about where they want to go. It's almost virtually impossible to get there if you don't have all the entire package to do it. But I love our players. I love it, and again, being around the young people certainly helped me, and I have a great time with them. I mean, that's sitting in the locker room after the game, having dinner with them almost every day, and cutting up, and then making some comments about my comments during practice is pretty funny, and hearing them imitate me and some things I don't even know I say, to be honest with you. It's fun, but again, just being with the players is really what I love about the game.
Okay, front row in the middle.
Hey, Rick, Anthony Christensen from Whole Hog Sports. Just wanted to ask you about Chaz Lanier. Obviously, the ASUN to the SEC is going to be it's a big jump. Just how has he kind of handled that, and what have you kind of seen from him so far that gives you confidence that he's making that jump well?
Well, one, a great kid, great person that works hard. He wants to be a good player. He would tell you if he knew coming in it was going to be a whole different level than what he had experienced in the past couple of years. But again, his teammates have a lot of respect for him. They know what he's capable of doing, and he's got a chance. I think he's just really getting started to how good a player he can be. Can he shoot it? Obviously, the numbers show that to do that, but he's more than that. And he's been dealing with an injury that set him back a little bit, but he'll get back from that. And he's a guy, again, that our players have a lot of respect for. They have confidence in him for him to do what we brought him to Tennessee to do, and that's to score the basketball.
We had a hand over here on the right. Middle, okay, go ahead.
Hey, Rick. Chris Lee, Southeastern 16. How much did Dalton Knecht help you in recruiting from the portal in high school in terms of the way you guys were able to showcase him? And part two of that, do you prefer to have a guy like that to a real go-to guy, or maybe a little bit more balanced approach like you had in the past?
Well, it's been fun having what I guess people would call closers. There's no doubt late in games that we've had certain players and that we knew that when it got down to winning time that we had a guy that we could go through that was going to not maybe score the point but make the right play. The majority of our teams have probably been based more on versatility, multiple guys doing different things, and it goes back to what we were talking about earlier about having a group that, depending on how it evolves, if a guy does step up and show you that he's a guy that you can play through, I think we're willing to do that. But yet, with Dalton, I can tell you, we always talked to him about making the right play. And when he got going, I mean, everybody knew it, and it was a thing of beauty. And when he got it, and I can tell you during timeouts when he got going at certain times, I would hear his teammates say, "We're going to get him open. You get him the ball, and let him do the rest." And I've always said the coach's kid about it, because I've said during the game when he gets going, I said the jockey's got to know when to get off the horse and let him ride it. And when you have guys like that, it's fun. I tell you, it really is, especially see it get going. But do you expect it year in and year out? Sometimes you can't. So that's where it goes back to trying to put together the best team you can and hope that they just really make great plays and get quality shots and they knock them down.
Let's go the third row in the middle on the left side.
Joey Dwyer with Vandy Sports. Obviously, you're somebody that prides yourself on defense and little things. Is it more difficult to find that in the portal era with guys looking for NIL and things along those lines, guys that want to buy into what you want to do?
I think it's like when you go shopping anywhere. You know, you go into a big furniture store, there's a lot of different sofas you can pick. You got to find the one that you want to live with. And I think that's the way it is in the portal. You've got to decide. You've got what you think that works in your program. You got to have coaches, which I'm blessed to have, that really do the intel work on guys, and you've got to know what that person's about. I mean, so when we talk about transparency, we do it in recruiting to where we go in the portal, we're looking for specific things, what we think most of all that will fit our program, not just our team, and know that we believe in our current players are going to do their job to help anyone that comes into the program to understand what we're about, where we want to go, what we want to do. But you've got to be careful. You know, when you're in the portal, you've got to make sure that it's what you need and what you want and what someone else is trying to, kind of push on you.
All right, let's go back to the left side on third row.
Coach Neil Blackman, Saturday Down South. Jemai, obviously, talk about his defense and how good this backcourt could be. Defense has been kind of at the center of everything you've built at Tennessee. Is this the best defensive backcourt group you've had?
I've never thought Jemai really got the recognition he deserves for defense. I think most people look at block shots and steals and think that's what makes good defensive players. It really does. I mean, obviously it's a part of it, but it's not the major thing. And what Jemai does with what he does guarding the ball, but also what he does to bring our defense together along with Zakai. I mean, those two guys are certainly, and they both have great pride in wanting to be defensive players. They want to do that. They grew up, trying to fight their way through this game and get where they are. And I think that Jemai is a great example of a guy that we talk about being a star in your role. He understands that. He embraces it. And again, I'm not sure there's a better defensive player when you look at maybe not steals or block shots, but in terms of what he does to impact the game is special.
Got time for two more questions. I'll go on the second row on the left, then we'll finish up on the first row on the left.
Hey, Coach, just want to circle back on Pope and just the transition at Kentucky. What is Kentucky getting in Coach Pope, and just what does it mean for the landscape of the SEC?
Well, I think you've got someone, that knows what he's into at Kentucky, what it's about, being there, being a former player. And I've been around Mark on the road, and I can just tell you, a wonderful person. He's going to. You look at his teams. I mean, he won where he had been, and I think that I'm sure, quickly has put his mark on the program in terms of just maybe walking into the facilities and changing what was there. I mean, it could be a totally different. I mean, you can send messages like that, what you want it to be, and I'm sure all that's different than it used to be. I would think, but I don't know. But I would think that, and I think he's very comfortable in who he is, and I think he's also he's lived in that system. He's in terms of the Blue Nation. He's been a part of it. He understands it, and I'm sure will do a fine job there.
All right, last question on the left side, front row.
Yeah, Ryan Black with the Louisville Courier-Journal. Rick, I'm sorry, I'm not going to let you get out of here without being asked about Texas. With them joining the league, kind of a two-part question. One, you faced them 3 times since you're in the end of the tenure there. So one, does that game still have any extra meaning to you at this point? And two, we know what Texas has brought to the league as a football program, but what your background with the men's basketball program, what do they bring in that area?
Well, again, I just think with the addition of Texas and Oklahoma, it just solidifies that we're the best league in the country in multiple sports. I mean, all the way across the board, really. You know, it's been 10 years since I've worked at the University of Texas, and I love Texas. 17 years of my life spent there working with one of the all-time great athletic directors in the country, in DeLoss Dodds, and a friendship with Mac Brown that will go forever. And obviously, the coaching staff there now, a lot of them was part of my staff when I was there, and they had a lot to do with our success as much as anyone. And so do I have a special place in my heart for Texas? I do. But when we play them, does it, other than when we go there, a lot more people come around to say hello. Otherwise, we go about it the same way. And I can tell you I'm extremely blessed to have the chance to be the head coach at the University of Tennessee. And but I think it's great for our conference that Texas and Oklahoma are here, and honestly, my favorite part about thinking about playing Texas is I get to see my grandkids for a day while I'm there and spend a little bit of time with them. But that part is probably my favorite part about going back there, because I know that Rodney's going to do a great job, and he's going to have a hard team to play and beat there. But again, I'm happy for them, and again, I've still got so many friends there at the university that I have just an incredible amount of respect for.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.
We have Tennessee and Mississippi State players on the side podiums.